Oh, crap. You, you'd think in this day and age I could get a video camera with some decent color. Well, to tell you the truth, I expect to be saying some things here in the not too distant future that might tend to make some very, very bad people very mad. And, who wants to deal with that sort of thing? But this series of talks is for the rest of you, the regular Joes of the world. And that, by the way, is my name. Hello, I'm Regular Joe. Who is Regular Joe anyway? You know them. We're ordinary people, decent people. We're not perfect, but when we do something bad, we tend to feel bad about it, and often to a much greater degree than the situation warrants. We may be rich, we may be poor, we may be smart, we may be dumb, we may be successful or unsuccessful, happy, sad, and everything in between. But basically, we're decent people. And that pertains to about 97.5% of the world's population. Now, what about that other 2.5%? Who are they? Perhaps it has occurred to you now and then in your lives, perhaps you've wondered, are there two different types of people? Yeah, there are. And that's really what this series of talks is going to be about. Now, unfortunately, that other small percentage, that 2.5%, happen to be responsible, and get this, they alone are responsible for all war and strife. So it might be of some advantage to the rest of us to be able to see or spot or identify who exactly they are. Now, they're not all in government, they're not all in the media, they're not all in the arts. And they don't go around wearing black hats. In fact, they look like the rest of us. But there is an exact way to identify them, and it would behoove you to know how to do this so that you could weed them out of your own lives and so forth, so you could vote them out of office and this sort of thing. And I'm telling you, in the long run, even though the planet might seem to be going downhill in a hurry right now, it's not really, and we can do something about it. But you're going to need to know what I'm about to tell you here. All right, now, the way we're going to approach this is through a series of videos. The next one will be a story. I'm going to tell you it's a true story, something that happened in my life. And the interesting thing about this story is probably, most likely, something similar has happened to each and every one of you in your own lives. So we'll all be able to relate to it quite nicely. And the title of that story will be The Cause of All War and Strife, or something like that. After that, after I tell the story, then I'm going to go over some of the basics of life, including exactly how to determine what is good and what is bad. In other words, what is a right decision and what is a wrong decision. I think you'll find this insight very real and very practical, and that will be necessary to bring us to the next step, at which point I'm going to tell you in very exact detail the exact characteristics of the antisocial personality and the social personality, the regular Joes being the social ones, so that you will then be able to look out in your lives and see exactly what I'm talking about, and to great benefit, I'm sure. After that, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go. There's lots we can talk about, but I do know this. I've got a few other things I'd like to talk about anyway. So we'll have probably some separate running categories, things like global warming, politics, economics, and things of that sort. Also, somewhere along the way, I'm going to introduce you to the rest of my family, my wife Jane, my dog Jarvis, and my cat Juno, who will each speak on their own behalf on topics near and dear to them, such as marriage and interpersonal relationships, and in the case of the animals, I guess they're going to probably talk about animal care or something of that sort. It's not all fully planned out yet, but it's bound to be interesting. Turns out I had to crunch this thing down to 10 megabytes to get it up on YouTube. So let me wrap up quickly here with a summary of what I'd really like to accomplish with this series of talks. I think there probably isn't a dinner table in any neighborhood where people don't sit around it at night and solve all the problems of the world. I mean, we all know what to do, don't we? And but as much as we do this, it doesn't really change things, does it? You probably get the idea that it really isn't possible. That it's all the government's fault or something of that sort. But truth is, armed with some knowledge, we can do something about the condition of the world at large. And I hope to be able to impart some knowledge, the source of which I will let you know about so that you could check into it further. But just in these talks alone, I think I'll be able to tell you some things that will be very helpful in your own lives, to be able to see things with clarity. Because after all, I'm sure you would agree, right now the world seems very confused and well, you've got politics going on in the United States right now, and actually in Europe, and really all over the world. It's very partisan. You've got this side and that side, and who's right and who's wrong, and lots of arguments and this sort of thing. But what's the end result? Things just sort of get worse, aren't they? Well, there's something wrong with that, and I'm hoping that you and I, from this point forward, can start to do something about it. So, see you in the next video.